Today I'm going to show you how to do a crochet cast on and a chain cast on. Now then, in order to differentiate, I made them in two different colors. Now then, but the problem being is that in different publications, and also if you look on tutorials on YouTube, you will find that some people call one thing, a chain cast on, a crochet cast on, and a crochet cast on, a chain cast on, and vice versa. I was taught one way to do crochet cast ons, and that's how I've been calling them as a crochet cast on, which is this one right here. It gives a nice crochet edge to it, but there are actually more publications out there than the other way that shows a chain cast on. What I've always called a chain cast on is actually what they call a crochet cast on, and then they call this the chain cast on. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you both versions in the same video, and you decide which technique you like best, and then if there is a pattern that calls for either a chain or crochet cast on, or even a cable cast on for that matter, you can change them out, because you will see this one here is also very similar. This is the one that a lot of people call the chain, this is what I call a chain cast on, but this is what a lot of people call a crochet cast on. It is also extremely similar to a cable cast on. But you will see what it looks like here compared to this one. Okay, I am going to show you this, both these cast ons, on the same loom, and I'm going to do them in two different colors. So the first one that I'm going to do is the one that I've always called a crochet cast on, and but most of the stuff I have seen shows it listed as a chain cast on. So okay, I've got my slip knot put on here. Now then, in order to do the this cast on, I am going to turn my loom around because it's easier for me. It may be easier for you to be looking at it straight on, but I always turn it around. So what we're going to do is I've got my slip knot on this peg here, but this is going to be our first peg. You can put your slip knot on your first peg, that's fine. That's just a personal preference of mine, to not have any knots in my work, as little as I can get it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your crochet hook. Now on this one I'm using a size F because it will easily go between the pegs. You can use whichever one is most easiest for you. It doesn't really matter on the hook size. All you do is you bring it, you make a U with it, bring it back around your first peg, and then you're going to take your crochet hook, you're going to yarn over, and you're just going to pull it through like that. You're just chaining. You're making a crochet chain is what you're doing. Pull your loop far enough over. You don't want it to be too tight. And then you'll yarn over and then pull it through, and you'll make that loop. And your working yarn will always pass to the front of the peg, and your loops then, and just crochet it through. The same thing can be done doing this, same effect, is making a very loose chain with a larger hook, and then just putting that front part of that chain over your loop, over your pegs. So you do that, and you just do it all the way across, and when you get to the last peg, all you do, see I haven't done the last peg yet, you'll bring your working yarn to the back then and just place that loop on your peg. If you're working in the round on this chain cast on, then you would put that last loop back on your first peg, and you would have 2 loops, and that way it'll join your chain and make it look more uniform. So here we go. Now let's see if we can see it. If you can see, you've got a nice crochet chain over the back. So that one is cast on now. Now then, let me show you what I've always called a chain cast on, and what has everybody else apparently has called a crochet cast on. Now then, I'm going to do it in yellow. Now we'll do our slip knot. Sometimes it's easier for me to start my loop off of it. So I start my first one, and this is why I always call it a chain. I don't know, but like I said, so you've got your loop started. You just chained one, and then you put it back on. Now then, I'm going to put mine through there. You can do this either way, front or back. For me, it's easier either way. But you're going to put this on here like this. You're going to have your crochet hook through your loop this time, and your first loop will then go on the peg. So just yarn over, pull it through, and then you put the loop onto the next peg, and you just leave your hook through there, and then you yarn over, pull the loop through, and place it on the next peg. And then you just continue doing that until you get all the way to just crochet it on across. And you'll just put that last loop, once we get there, you'll just put that last loop on the, and you'll carry your working yarn to the back of the pegs on this one as opposed to the front, and you just place that loop on there, and then you've got it. And this one is a little bit harder to see. You still have that sort of that chain effect that you have over here, but once it's on the pegs, it's not as defined. So there you go. And that is the only difference between the two. This version is the one that I prefer, and I will call it, I have called it a crochet cast on all these years, and it's just been the other day that I realized that everything else I have seen has it backwards from the way that I learned it. And then this one over here, I've always called the crochet chain cast on. But if the majority of publications, though, that are out there, I will say this one is called a chain cast on, this one's called a crochet cast on. But if a pattern calls for one or the other, you can use, they're interchangeable. You can swap them out, use whichever one you want, whichever one's easiest for you, if that helps. I hope this whole tutorial helps for the chain and crochet cast on. I hope you have a good day. Thank you.